everyone. Welcome to Big League Dreaming, the podcast, a show about fulfilling your dreams and taking it to the next level. Thanks again for joining us. This podcast, if you haven't been here before, it's a dad and his three sons, where we talk a little bit about, actually a lot about baseball and our love for the game. Today joining us on the show is two of the three sons. Can't even count today. It's Zach and Ty. Say hi, Zach.
Hey, how's it going? Excited to chat baseball today.
And Ty?
What's going on? This is actually episode 40 for us, so we've been going at it for a while.
Season 3, episode 40. I love it. It's been great. Thanks again for everyone tuning in. If you haven't had a chance to check out the podcast, please do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. We'd love for you to hang out with us for a little while to talk baseball. And we talk about everything from Little League Baseball to the Major League level. Today's topic is the World Baseball Classic. Back after 6 years. Both of you guys must be excited about it because it's probably been a few years since you saw a World Baseball Classic game, right, Zach?
Yeah, absolutely. The last time I had the World Baseball Classic was 2017. And then, at that point, they're doing it every 4 years. So 2021 was circled on the calendar. And then with COVID, they had to postpone everything. So the qualifiers didn't start until last September for this year's World Baseball Classic. So definitely excited to see some international play.
Ty, do you remember watching a lot of World Baseball Classic back in 17? You're probably too busy. Were you still playing college baseball then?
No, I wasn't playing college baseball. I didn't get a chance to watch really that much that year, but I remember before that, back when I was still living at home, it was awesome watching the games because they'd always be on like right before school because they'd be like played in Japan and games would start at 3 a.m, so you could wake up a little earlier and watch some baseball before going to school. So I always loved that they're on super early. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I'm super excited as well because, as both of you know, Ty, one of your gifts to me was to go to Mexico. And I went there in 2019 to go see relatives, but also to check out the premiere. Some of the games kind of leading up to the World Baseball Classic. So I got to see like the Netherlands play. I got to see Team USA, Team Mexico. So it was a lot of fun. You get excited. I ran into John Paul Morosi, in the stands, and he was laughing about that. So I'm super excited. Just to put things into perspective, folks, again, you're listening to Big League Dreaming, the podcast. World Baseball Classic begins in early March. They're already starting to work out right now. But this gives you an idea of how many superstars will be playing in this year's game. So there are, in this year's World Baseball Classic 2023, 67 MLB All-Stars, 186 players on 40-man rosters, 332 players under contract with big league teams. There are 8 Major League MVPs in the lineups for several of these teams. So many of the top MVPs from the AL and the NL. It is loaded with superstars, people you're going to know from every country, just about, right, Zach?
Yeah, it's going to be really cool to see, some of these players that aren't maybe, the best player on their team in the MLB. They are the best team on Netherlands or whatever it is. So since they're getting their time to shine, playing for their country, and that's something that they're very proud of. That's why a lot of guys want to compete in this. Because they don't have baseball in the Olympics anymore. It's the World Baseball Classic. So the players take a lot of pride in competing in this big tournament.
All right, so where do we want to start? Do we want to start with the format, or we want to start with the teams? What do you guys think?
We can start off with the format.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so the format is pool play. It's a round robin double elimination tournament. And then after that, the top 2 teams in each pool advance to an 8-team single elimination bracket. So that's I think it's broken down to 4 pools too.
Yeah, it'll be pool A, B, C, and D. So it's just a tournament, right? I mean, it's a tournament where I think the top 2 teams, right, from each pool advance to the next round. And then, like you said, Ty, it's a single elimination, right?
Yep.
Cool. I know that the window of games, I think over an 12-day period, teams would have to win or play in 7 games to make it to win the whole title, right? So you got the opening round and then single game eliminations to get to the finals. So it's just a straight ahead, the winner of pool A plays the second team of pool B, flip it the other way, and the same way in C and D. And then it's after pool play, You've got to win 2 to get out of it and 1 to win the whole thing. So it's a fun format, I think. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I feel like they can get a lot more games in that way. I feel like if they just did like kind of March Madness style single elimination, it wouldn't be as exciting because teams would play one game or maybe once. I don't know if they would do series instead, but this way, like a lot of the teams get a lot of games in.
Zach, what about you in the format? Do you like it?
Yeah, I like how quick it is. That way the teams can get back to their respective spring training facilities and get ramped up for, opening day, April 1st, March 31st, whatever it is, for their team. I like how it's really quick at the end, semifinals, finals, bang, bang, bang. I like the round robin rather than the double elimination that they tried out. I think it was 2009 they tried doing that double elimination where Netherlands beat Dominican twice and knocked out Dominican. So there's a lot of controversy over changing the format and things like that. So I like how they have it set up at this point.
We'll break down some of the teams who are favored to win. Zach, you'll do that in a second. Let's just go through the teams that are in this year's tournament. Like Ty mentioned, there are 4 pools, A, B, C, and D in the format. Each pool has 5 teams. So let's go through Pool A really quick. In Pool A, which would be played in Taiwan, those games would include Chinese Taipei, Netherlands, Cuba, Italy, and Panama. Pool B, which will be played in Tokyo, Japan. Those games, again, these are early March 8th through the 12th, 9th through the 13th in Japan. That pool will feature Japan, Korea, Australia, China, and the Czech Republic. Going over to Pool C, those games will be played March 11th through the 15th in Phoenix, Arizona. You have Team USA, probably the favorite there, Mexico, Colombia, Canada, and Great Britain. Great Britain's an interesting team to watch. Canada as well, but I'm really intrigued by Great Britain. And then in Pool D, you have those games being played in Miami, Florida, March 11th through the 15th. Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican, Israel, and Nicaragua. That looks like a tough pool, don't you think, Zach?
Yeah, that pool's stacked. There's a lot of all-stars in that pool D for sure.
Pool D, yeah, Pool D could win it all. So those are the teams in there. Zach, I know you're going to kind of run down some of those teams. You mentioned Pool D. Is it just basically going to be Dominican versus Venezuela for the title there?
Yeah, Puerto Rico has a lot of good players too. I mean, Ty, your Mets have Edwin Diaz on the Puerto Rico team and Lindor. But I mean, Dominican is just stands out. Like their offense is just unreal. Like I was looking at their team top to bottom, Dad, and they like just their infield alone is just nuts. They got Manny Machado, Vlad Guerrero, Jeremy Pena at short, Willie Adames, Wander Franco, and Rafael Devers. Like that's ridiculous. Not to mention who's in the outfield, right? You got Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, Nelson Cruz at DH. Dominican is by far my favorite to win the whole thing, just because of the offense. I mean, I feel like the pitching, the pitchers aren't ramped up yet, right? So the starters are only going to go however much so that their MLB team is going to kind of let them go. And it's going to be a lot of relievers. All the relievers are good, right? They have good arms out of the bullpen, but it could take the pitchers a little bit while to get back to that game speed. And I think these hitters are just going to have a field day on some of these teams.
How long do the starters usually last in these games? Like a couple innings, or?
It really just depends on it depends on the player, depends on what the major league team has kind of like chatted with them on pitch count and feel and things like that. So it depends. I mean, I'm sure we'll see the Japan, Korea, China. I'm sure those guys will go pretty deep. But if they're not signed to a major league contract, I'm sure they'll try to go pretty far if they're dealing, right. But it's depend on the workload, if they're a starter, if they're a reliever. So we'll see. I mean, these guys are super competitive, so they want to stay out there as long as they can, obviously.
I think there might be a pitch limit in the first round, but I read somewhere, I think it's 65 pitches, but still, you have a couple of these guys that, are already been working out and getting their arms ready for this World Baseball Classic. It's going to be, I think pitching is going to be, I think the team with the best pitching will do the best. So I think coming out of Pool D, I like the Dominican. I think Israel's interesting because they have Ian Kinsler, I think, is managing that team. And then people aren't giving a lot of credit to Puerto Rico. It's not as strong as they have been. But Venezuela, don't forget, Miguel Cabrera is playing this year.
Can never count out Miggy.
No, I think they could be. I think Venezuela could surprise people though too. I don't think it's a given that the Dominican will win, even though on paper it looks like it. This is going to be super competitive. The games are in Miami, so it's going to be, the atmosphere is going to be electric there.
Absolutely, I wish we were going, Dad.
Yeah, don't tell me. Ty, any more about Pool D before we go to Pool C?
No, let's move on to Pool C.
All right, in Pool C, these are the games taking place in Phoenix, Arizona. As I mentioned, USA probably the likely favorite. Mexico probably right number 2. What do you guys think about that, Zach?
Yeah, I would think so. I really like Urias with Mexico. We'll see how much he can pitch. Couple guys making their debuts. I know Clayton Kershaw is making his debut for the United States. Yeah, I'm excited to see some of these other guys on the other teams compete. So it'll be fun to watch.
Ty, what do you think about Pool C?
I think US will do pretty well. They have a lot of good players. They have Trout, they have Harper, they have Nolan Arenado. They have a really solid, I think Trey Turner as well. So they have a really solid lineup.
I guess I didn't realize that Pool C and Pool D, those 2 winners will advance to the quarterfinals, and then someone from there is going to go on. So I don't know if it could be easily a USA versus Dominican in that round, right, to get to the championship.
Yeah, definitely. I think US has Mookie Betts too.
Yeah, they do.
So they look pretty good.
Hopefully we see a Mexico upset though, right, Dad?
That would be something. I mean, I got the pitching to do that. Over in Pool B, we've got Japan, Korea, Australia, China, and the Czech Republic. I mean, I don't know how Japan doesn't win this one.
Yeah, I agree. Shohei, right?
Yeah.
We'll see what he does. The place is gonna be bonkers out there for Shohei Showtime Mania, so it'll be a lot of fun to see the atmosphere out there.
Where are these games being played at?
Those games will be played in Tokyo, Japan, March 9th through 13th.
That'll be cool.
Korea will hang in there. It'll likely be Korea and Japan that'll advance from Pool B. And then in Pool A, those games in Taichung, Taiwan, March 8th to the 12th. We've got Chinese Taipei, Netherlands, Cuba, Italy, and Panama. Zane, I do it to you all the time, Ty. You got to be excited about Italy, right?
Oh yeah, only because Mike Piazza is the coach. That's the only reason why.
Right. Are they the favorite to win out of there, or who do you think, Ty?
I honestly don't know. Maybe Cuba. I don't think Italy will be that good.
Right.
I think maybe Cuba might be the favorite out of there.
Cuba or the Netherlands, also a solid choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, I could see Chinese Taipei doing pretty decent as well. I feel like those teams are just so disciplined. Like they come out there and you don't know who they are, right?
Right.
But they just like compete. So that'll be fun to watch some of those guys for sure.
Yeah, I feel like with that pool, it's really anyone's. I feel like any one of those teams could do well. It's going to be the most interesting to see like who's going to perform out of that one, and it's like anyone's.
Yeah, it's up for grabs a little bit more than some of the other pools.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're gonna run into what do you want to run into next, guys?
Players to watch.
Players to watch. All right.
So I had to go with someone from Italy, of course.
Let's do it then. Ty, go for it.
Vinny Pasquinito, first baseman from Kansas City Royals. He's probably going to be Italy's best player, to be honest. He was in AAA for like half the season last year. He did pretty well with the Royals for the second half of the season. I think he had 10 home runs, hit 300. He'll kind of play the role of like Rizzo, because Rizzo played for Italy, first base. He's not playing this year, so I think he's going to be the big bat for Italy, and I think he'll do pretty well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing Mike Piazza, on the field coaching.
Yeah,
and kind of directing that squad. And I think they call him the Italian. I think they call Vinny the Italian Nightmare. So
yeah, they do.
So I think that's really interesting. They also have let's see, they have some major players with major league experience on that club. So
they have.
I see Matt Harvey's going to be
Harvey.
Playing. Yeah,
he's a free agent right now, but yep, he's going back to play.
Very, very cool. All right, Zach, let's get to your pick.
Okay, yeah. So my pick, I had to go with the Seattle guy, right? So I'm going with Harry Ford. Harry Ford is a minor leaguer with the Seattle Mariners. He's their number one prospect. He's a catcher. Although they're kind of projecting for him to be maybe like a third baseman, even maybe outfielder as time goes on, just because he's a crazy good athlete. But he's only 19 years old. He's I think he's number 49 in the Major League Baseball top 100 prospects. He'll be playing for Great Britain, of all teams. So both of his parents are from Great Britain, or they were born there. I believe his dad still lives there. But in the qualifiers, so this will be Great Britain's first appearance in the World Baseball Classic. And in the qualifiers last fall, Harry Ford was like the leading player for Great Britain, batting 3-4 in the lineup. He batted .455 in the qualifiers and hit 3 home runs. He kind of led them to advancing to this World Baseball Classic, and a lot of the Mariners fans are excited to watch him, compete against the best players, right? Because he was drafted as a high school guy, and he raked in. I think he was in Single A last year, but now he's facing totally next step up of pitchers and things like that in this World Baseball Classic. So all of us Mariner fans were super excited to see Harry Ford this year, see what he can do.
So he's for Great Britain. What pool is that again?
Great Britain plays in Pool C
with Mexico and US.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so he'll face some really good pitching.
Yep.
Well, I was looking at some players, and before I say who it is, I spent some time doing research on Team Japan. I just am intrigued. Obviously, Otani will be there. Darvish. I mean, I think Japan, of all the teams, has some of the best pitching in the World Baseball Classic. This team also has had some success over the years. I think that they're the most cohesive team out there at this caliber in the tournament. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win it all. I mean, I think everyone's looking at US or Dominican, but Japan could also do it as well. And here's kind of why. Look at their outfield real quick before I get to my player here. Suzuki, who played for the Cubs last year, would be playing right field for Japan. And he's a bona fide player. They also have Lars Nootbaar from the Cardinals, who played in the major leagues last year and had a great season for them. So they're gonna, with this pitching staff, all their pitchers are under the age of 30, right? And they all have great stuff, and they play small ball. And I think that's kind of what's held them back a little bit on the world stage. But now with some of these big hitters on this team, I think they can compete at the higher level. Also playing for Team Japan in the outfield is the Red Sox outfielder Matasaka Yoshida. It'll be his first year. He comes from the Japanese league, and he'll be with the Red Sox this year. And that outfield is loaded. But my pick is going to be third baseman Munetaka Murakami. This guy hit 56 home runs last year.
Oh my gosh.
He is a Triple Crown winner. He had one of the best seasons ever in Japanese professional baseball. This kid is only 23 years old, and he is a slugger. I mean, this guy just rakes. He hits the ball. He loves balls thrown in the mid 90s and higher. He feeds off of fastballs. He plays third base, decent fielder, steals some bases. He had 12 steals last year in the league. Slugging percentage was over 700. He had 134 RBI. He's an offensive machine. So I think you take a team like Japan that is known for playing small ball with good pitching. If you give some more offensive power to this team, now, they might be down 5-3 going into late in the innings, and they might be able to, get a 3-1 home run to put them in and give them the lead. So I think this team has more versatility than they have in the past. So I'm excited about Team Japan. I know it sounds weird for me, right? I think I'd be rooting for Team Mexico, right? Or the Dominican or Venezuela, but I'm excited about Japan.
Well, Japan's won it twice too.
They have, yeah.
They won the first one, 2006. They won it again, 2009. So they've been there. They've shown they can compete. So they're always a favorite. Them, US, who won it in 17, Dominican won it in 13. Those are the four classics that we've seen so far. So those three teams right there that have all won it before, they're definitely gonna stand out as potential favorites to win it again.
Yeah, so I think, and I can't wait to watch these guys hit. Yoshida, I want to see how he plays, and I think it'll be fun for Major League Baseball fans around the country too, with spring training games. I know a lot of the Major League teams are going to play these teams in exhibitions leading up to the World Baseball Classic. So, Zach, did you say the Mariners have a game?
Yeah, the Mariners play Team Canada on March 9th, and Canada has Matt Brash as a reliever, who's a reliever for the Mariners. So that'll be pretty cool to see Brash play for Canada against the Mariners.
Yeah. And I've not looked at all that schedule. I saw that a couple weeks ago, the schedule for spring training schedule, because I definitely want to try to catch some of those games if I can. I'm heading down heading south. We'll see if I can make it to one of the games for spring training. I don't know. You never know how things go. But it'd be fun. It'd be fun to do a Big League Dreaming podcast from Florida, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
From anywhere where a baseball game's going on would be fun.
All right, guys. Anything else you guys want to add about the World Baseball Classic?
I just looked up real quickly with your pick, that kid that hit 56 home runs. I was interested how many games they play in the Japanese league. And it says 144. So that's almost 20 games less than MLB, and he still hit 56 home runs. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he had, like I said, people are still talking about him, and he's only 23. I mean, this kid can hit. So I think they're gonna be a fun team to watch this year.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about it because, as you guys know, right, we're all excited. The spring training is here, and pitchers and catchers will report here soon. And you've got some games on TV, but now we have the attention of the World Baseball Classic starting in early March to go along with spring training games. So before you know it, it's going to be baseball is here, right?
Baseball is upon us.
It is.
Very excited.
What's that, Zach?
So yeah, very excited. I think it'll also help if Great Britain has a decent showing this year to give like some excitement for the London series, because the Cubs are playing the Cardinals in June out in London. So maybe give some fans some excitement to see some Major League Baseball come their way. Speaking of the Cardinals, Lars Nootbaar, dad, I saw him a good amount here in Charlotte playing for the Memphis Redbirds, and our announcer guy would always have fun with Lars Nootbaar whenever he'd come up to bat. So I'll always remember that name.
Well, I know that speaking of that European game, the game in London, I think next year MLB will return to London in 2024. And then in 2025, they're going to be in Paris. So they're going to continue that trend. MLB trying to break into Europe there and give fans out there a chance to game. So yeah, Great Britain doing well would be good for MLB. So, but you never know. When I found that out, I'm like, well, I've always wanted to go to Paris. Maybe 2025 is the year I go.
Yeah, might as well.
Wouldn't it be cool?
Only if the Tigers are playing.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining us. Thanks to everyone out there for joining us here on Big League Dreaming, the podcast. We never even talked about our favorite teams, but you heard Zach talk about his Mariners, Ty talk about his Mets. I mentioned Miguel Cabrera, so you know I'm a Tigers fan. So there you go. It'll be fun. Watch Cabrera like be the MVP, right?
Oh my gosh, you never know.
You never know. You never know. He's going to have a heck of a year this year, I think, with all his goodbyes and farewell.
I think he will.
Tour. There'll be a Miggy reunion. So
Yeah.
he loves the spotlight, and that's when he shines the best. So, all right, guys, thanks again for joining us. Everyone listening, Ty, where can people get more information about our podcast?
Yeah, you can follow us over on TikTok at Big League Dreaming. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Big League Dreaming, the podcast. You can check us out on all the streaming platforms of podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Anchor, all that good stuff. And you can always shoot us an email, bigleaguedreaming@gmail.com. Jump on an episode with us. We'd love to hear from you.